Hey guys, so here's a quick little tutorial on how I style my hair. So I start off with a leave-in conditioner. Sorry, that's backwards. I will do better next time. So I'm just kind of putting it in around my ends, focusing on the ends, trying not to get too much at the root because the root doesn't need it. It'll get oily that way if you get it on the root. The ends are the damaged parts, so that's what you want to focus on. We're going to add some of the Olaplex Bond Smoother and the oil. It's amazing. It helps with keeping your hair healthy and helps with frizz. The serum is amazing for that. It also has that Olaplex bond building technology in it, so it's like a little mini treatment. So just start by putting it all around your ends and work your way up. I like to focus on the bang part because that gets the most heat, I find, when I'm styling. So that's what I'm doing there. So you just work it all in, and this is the Schwarzkopf Tame Wild. So basically this helps with any kind of frizz. I have naturally wavy hair, not so wavy now because my hair is super bleached, but it helps when I'm blowing it out because I always find the first day drying my hair it gets really big and poofy, so this definitely helps with that. Oh, and I need tools that I forgot. My comb. So what I'm doing now is I'm just kind of brushing through with my wide tooth comb to make sure that all the products evenly distributed so that I'm not having any kind of area that's super clumpy with product, because that does not look good when you style your hair and you're getting this big nice large area of product. So this is the Protect and Prevent spray. It is the Moroccan oil heat protector. Protects up to 350 degrees of heat. So basically I always like to put this in right before I do any kind of styling, heat styling, because it just makes your hair protected, living its best life. So I'm going to talk a little bit about sectioning now. So I have so much hair and it's super layered, so I always find it easier to section it before I blow dry so that I don't have to fight with all the layers as I'm blow drying it. It just cuts some time down. So that's what I'm doing right now. My top layer is what's layered the most. And I have really short layers and short hair, so I'm sectioning my second section into two subsections. It's really cute right now. Why am I even continuing? This just looks amazing. So we have it nice and sectioned. When I'm curling my hair, I don't like go crazy with the blow drying underneath, because one, like, I already have that natural wave like I said, so I want to keep the length in the bottom. I'm not going to be curling really the bottom. It just has that flip kind of look, but by using the comb it's going to smooth it out as much as possible. So with blow drying your hair, you don't want to go right in with like a round brush or anything, because it's the last 20% of drying your hair that actually holds the shape. So if you're going right in with the round brush when your hair's sopping wet, it's just going to be a recipe for frustration and just kind of like making your arms hurt way more than they need to. So just don't go crazy with the round brush right away. Like, try and get some of that moisture out, and then when it's about 80% dry, you just go back in and dry it with the round brush that last 20%. So I went in with the comb right away because my underneath was pretty dry when I was doing my makeup, so now I'm just kind of smoothing it out. I'm trying to keep that bottom fairly flat, because if you go and you create too much volume at the bottom, you're gonna get that mushroom look. I want volume on the top in the crown area, and then I want it to be more tapered on the bottom, so that's kind of why, and my hair needs to be cut, so that's why I kind of have to work at that a little bit. So now I'm moving to my second section. So I'm getting most of the moisture out first before I go in with, and you don't have to be meticulous with this. You just kind of getting the moisture out. And then once you get most of the moisture out, you can go in with a brush. So I'm just checking it to see. So everybody always asks me this, like, how do you round brush your own hair? Like, I can't do it. Honestly, I couldn't do this before I started doing hair. Like, but I think it's just learning the little tips and tricks. And the biggest thing to round brushing your own hair is having a good size round brush. If you have one that's too small, your hair is just gonna get caught in it and you're just gonna get frustrated, and you'll end up just either getting it so tangled that you just want to cut it out, or you just end up going with wet hair. So I have this big ass round brush that you would think would be too big for my short hair, but see how easy it's going through. Like, it's not getting caught or anything, and I can keep it on the same strand without having to change, like pull it out or anything like that. So just kind of smoothing things out. This is like the first time I've like styled my hair in probably a week since like I did my live. I think I straightened my hair that day. My hair's been straight all week, so loving this social distancing and not having to do my hair all the time. It's nice. Which I don't anyways. Which leads me to my next point of why I'm blow drying so meticulously. I do this about once a week. This is like my weekly set, some might say. And I find that if you meticulously blow dry like this, then basically you don't have to style your hair as much on a daily basis, because with the blow drying and the round brushing, you're smoothing the cuticle out, so your hair is gonna stay in the shape that you put it for a lot longer. So basically what I do is I do this about once a week, and then wake up in the mornings and curl a couple pieces, and sometimes I don't even have to curl anything. So I know this seems like a strenuous process, but it's something that I only do once a week, so that's why I don't mind doing it. I would highly recommend, because one, it's going to be a lot lower maintenance and you won't have to be spending as much time in front of the mirror. And two, it's a lot better on your hair because you don't have as much heat, which is nice. I'm just kind of fumbling here. Oh, and I'm fumbling with the buttons. That's awesome. So yeah, just kind of smoothing things out, and like the ends are what hold the most. So you don't, when you're blow drying, you want to focus more on the ends, and when you are flat ironing, you want to focus on the roots. We will get to that. Just kind of forming the hair how I want to eventually wear it. Oh my gosh, I need my half roots done. When I went blonde, it was like a quick situation. So on the top makes me look really blonde, and the underneath is like frosted tips. So we're gonna get that sorted once I am out of isolation. So we're now at the crown area. So again, I'm just taking as much moisture out as possible. Everybody always wants volume at their crown, and the crown is the most flat area on the head. So basically doing this, having a small section and just round brushing as much as you can. It's annoying to do on yourself, but it's worth it. And see how easy that's going through my hair? It's because the round brush is so big. My cute little zebra round brush. And like letting it cool a little bit doesn't hurt either. It'll kind of help it stay in its shape. So I'm just kind of following the head shape and just trying to create as much volume as possible. And we're getting awkward here. Again, this blow drying process makes it a huge difference in keeping the shape of your style for a long time. So I was gonna do a center part, but my hair is not long enough yet. Like my front pieces are not long enough yet. So I ended up just doing, I just parted close to the center, And I'm just gonna work, I use my bangs as like a complete other section because one, they're so thick, and because two, it's like the first thing that people see. You're gonna get a laugh here soon in a second. What happens? So basically what I'm doing is, the reason why I'm doing it this way, I'm round brushing upwards because I have a really big like it's not really cowlick, but like my hair just naturally does a swoop up right at the root. So when I do it when I blow dry it this way, I find that it sits more forward rather than just sitting right up. It looks crazy when you're blow drying it, but you'll oh, there it is. She burned her eyelashes. Oh, yeah, not good. Look how thick those bangs are. That needs to be texturized so bad. Yeah, my literal, like, eyelashes, like, melted together. That was fun. She's okay. She's alright. She's surviving. She's keeping composure. Oh, yeah, that hurt. Beauty's pain, right? No pain, no gain. So yeah, I like to do my bangs in sections because they're so thick, and then you can get really close. When you do them in sections, you can get the round brush really close to the root, so you can be more precise with it, and it works better. Whoop. I know, it looks like Kitty. I like getting Kitty from that 70s show vibes right now. I love it. So see how it's sitting forward so much more, but there's still lots of volume, which is nice. Now I'm just kind of drying these guys over here. Alright, so now we're going to get the hair ready to put some heat tool on it. It's important I always brush my hair out and just feel it through because it could feel hot, but it might not be dry. So this is the Moroccan oil heat protector. Protects up to 450 degrees Fahrenheit temperature, but please don't ever use that much heat on your hair. It's not wise. So we just evenly distribute it. I like to roughly section my hair out and then brush it through. Brushing it through, one, makes it evenly distributed, and then also it just gives it a chance to dry into the hair. You don't want to put heat on wet hair because then you get the frizzle, like the nice burnt hair ends. So, oh, yeah, caffeine. So my thicker side is super thick, so I always just section the top and get rid of it. And then I do little sections. It's just easier to deal with than try and mess with the whole hair at once. So you can see I'm not going all the way down to the bottom. Like I said before, I don't want to curl the bottom because then it gets too curly. So cleaning your subsection is super important, and only using low heat. 320 degrees, that's it. That's all I'm using. So on my coarse hair. And also that was another thing I didn't talk about in my video, my live, is that sometimes if you have your hair sometimes if you have your tool too hot, that will also create the really tight curls that you don't want. So having a lower heat will definitely help that, and then you can just go a little bit slower down the strand. So I'm grabbing my subsection, keeping my flat iron pointing up the whole time. That's super important. And then just twisting the hair and kind of like pulling it down to like keep the length. And then when I first start out, I don't like to run my fingers right through it. I don't know why. My right side, I never run my fingers through it right off the bat, but the left side I seem to, because I don't always want the left side to be as curly. My right side is always a lot curlier than my left because that's just how I like my hair. So there I'm just kind of twisting it and not like running my fingers right through it yet. Long and narrow sections are super important because that will create more length in your curls. If you're using wide, narrow sections, then that will create more width in your curl. And we don't really want that. We want more of like a beach wave look. So cleaning your subsection is super important, like I said before. You don't want to iron out wrinkles into your hair. I'm just going slowly down the section. Twirl and pull. Now we're at the bang area. So I always like to section the bang when I'm curling it, just like I did when I was blow drying it, and just using small sections, because if you use big sections then it won't sit nice. So again, I'm using narrow sections. So with this front piece, because my hair is a little bit shorter in the front, I like to do it under first, just to see how it's going to sit. And sometimes it'll sit great and blend in, but in this case it's not. So I'm going to go again and go up, comb it through, and it's sitting better. So see how it just blends into the rest of the hair better. It's weird, hair is weird, we can't predict how it's going to act. So I always like to just try a couple things. So I'm going to tuck it up again and see how I'm not starting right at the root with the flat iron to turn it. Like I'm starting to turn the flat iron kind of in the middle. It'll just create a more natural look for you. Lots of fingering. Just to let it sit. And you don't want to let your bang cool for too long, because you want to be able to manipulate the shape. And sometimes that's what's going to happen, is you're going to manipulate it. You're going to see a piece of hair that's not sitting the way you want it to, and you can go through it with the flat iron again. So, there we go. Oh, little chin swish, it's fine. And we're gonna move to the second side. So now I'm just kind of running my fingers, making sure that the front is feeling good, and we can't forget about the back. So I just grab a mirror and you can see that there's a large area that still needs to be curled. So I just split that in half so that I can continue the same sectioning that I did throughout the whole head. So I get this question a lot. How do you curl the back of your head? Literally, it's all feel. So I always do about 2 sections on the one side, and then I'll get to the second side and do it the other direction. It's all about the feel. And I don't know. I find the back I try not to stress out too much about because it's just messier the better. That's what I always say. So see, it looks crazy, but I'm gonna check the back and look at the change it makes when you just run your fingers through it. Just messy. And oh my gosh, the highlights need to be done so bad. So again, I'm just kind of feeling it out, and I turned around to show you guys, but it's so much easier to do it looking at the mirror just like this. And there you go. So I like to just run my fingers through it, check everything, make sure it's looking good. Again, I don't stress out too much about the back. And I like to finish it off with some Olaplex serum and the Bond Smoother, just to kind of seal everything in, add a nice glaze over everything. Because girl, my hair is dry. It can handle it. I wouldn't recommend this for someone who has fine hair because it can be super heavy and make it look oily, but because my hair is so thick and coarse, it soaks it right up. Makes it feel so much better. And like I said, the Olaplex products have the bond building technology in it, so it acts as a little mini treatment as well. So just kind of fingering everything through and making sure that everything is in place, adding some volume to that crown. And once I feel good about how everything's looking, takes a little bit. I'm gonna grab my finishing spray. I don't usually use hairspray on my hair, but I like to use this. It's great. It's the sparkler, the Osis sparkler. It's basically like an aerosol serum. It's really nice for people with fine hair who want to add that shine and add a little bit of touchable feel to your hair. It doesn't leave it feeling crispy or anything. And that's pretty much it. Hope you liked it.